is officially dead. Let's talk about it. So the Democrats are stunned at the results that happened on Tuesday. They thought for sure that Vice President Harris was going to win in a landslide. What they didn't realize, they lost in a landslide. And now they're trying to minimize what happened. They're just trying to minimize it instead of facing what happened. Their policies have been rejected, overwhelmingly rejected. And what they would call the swing states, it's been rejected. And let's talk about why. Why? Doesn't take a rocket scientist to know. And I've heard a few people mention this on mainstream media, that the Democrat Party has been hijacked. It's been hijacked by the extremists in their party. And they're trying to, they believe that those views are mainstream. No. The people want safe communities. People want higher paying jobs. People want lower inflation. People want choices. They don't want to be told that they have to drive an electric car in 10 years or 5 years. They need options. You can't tell people that this is your only option. No one does that. Nobody. If someone came to you and said, well, this is what you have to do, the next question is, well, do I have to do that? What's my other option? The problem is the Democrat Party has been taken over by extremists. Let's look at MSNBC. They call themselves a news network, right? Joy Reid is an activist. Rachel Maddow is an activist. Sharpton is an activist. Lawrence O'Donnell is an activist. And then they wonder why their ratings are in the tank. Because the woman, the president of MSNBC, who runs the network, has shaped it after her own image. She's a black woman who's an Obama person. Right? So she has brought in extremists. If you listen to MSNBC's presidential coverage, they had Joy Reid on there, you wanted to throw up. And the people at the desk listen to what she says. Listens to what she says, and they say, sure, yeah, that's right. While they're getting crushed at the polls. Yo. That's a problem. That's a big problem. You have people in charge of the Democrat Party. You had mainstream people. You had Cory Booker. Governor Chris Christie said it. He's the darling of the left now, right? Because he's anti-Trump. He said it. He said when he knows Cory Booker better than anyone. And Cory Booker was a mainstream guy. And Cory Booker's now far left. The Democrat Party shot themselves in the foot. They got hijacked by the squad. The Democrat Party got hijacked by the squad. And it happened to the Republicans, right? The Republicans, many years ago, got hijacked by the Tea Party. The Tea Party gave them a bad image. But the Republicans over time have gotten rid of a lot of the people that were in their party. And the people that remain, like Marjorie Stoneman Green and Boebert and them, they yap on social media, but they're not put on TV. They're not put on TV and given shows by Fox or any of those other people, right? They're not. They're kept at arm's length. MSN, the Democrat Party takes the extremists of their party and they embrace them and make them mainstream. If you listen to, and now Missouri got rid of Cory Bush, the BLM activist. Jamal Bowman, they got rid of him. But a few remain, right? Talib, Omar, because they come from a community that like Michigan. Michigan has almost an entire city that's all Muslim, right? They have a call to prayer that blares over the city. I'm in the car because I just got home from work. I'm about to go in, and I wanted to talk before I went in. And I keep hearing that argument, right? That Trump is flawed. Trump can this, Trump can... People don't care. People don't care. People really think that we still live in an age that people care. People don't care anymore. They talked about the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement. Women being degraded, taken advantage of, right? And now what do? They sell themselves. They sell sex and everything else on social media to get clicks. So they can try to get monetized, so they can make money. They show off their Brazilian butt lifts. They show off their silicone implants, right? That's so they can get clicks. So all of a sudden we have morals in this country, so we're worried about Donald Trump. The youth of our country, in the music they listen to, they embrace rappers. There's nothing wrong with rappers, but a lot of them are gang members. They're gang members that keep getting brought up on charges, RICO, who put themselves on social media and advertise their gangs. They wear gold chains that have their gang, their clique. And I'm not telling you something that's not known. Someone, a guy mentioned it. There's a podcast called No Jumper. I watch it once in a while. And the guy said, you become a rap artist and you get off the block. And sometimes you can't bring the block with you. That's what he said. Because these guys are part of their gang affiliation. They're obligated that when they make it, they take 3 or 4 of their guys with them. The next thing you know, there's drive-by shootings. Who's this young guy? Little Dirk, who's facing the death penalty for a murder for hire. Look at the guys that are facing RICO charges in Atlanta. Our youth looks up to them. Our youth loves their music. And they're giving platforms on social media. Right? YouTube videos. Millions of views. The Democrat Party has embraced the wrong thing. I came up here with statistics. I talked about statistics months ago. And I was called, no, I was crazy. They talk about, John, the inflation's down to 2%. Yeah. But the price of goods has risen 20% in the last 4 years. Who cares about 2% when the price has gone up 20%? Real wages has grown under Biden by 7%. Right? Real wages has grown 7% under Biden. Yeah, but the cost of living has grown by 20%. So you're losing money. I'm not saying Donald Trump's your answer. But everyone knows you don't have to be an economic genius to know that if you put burdensome regulations on business, if you put requirements, if you put all this stuff on there, it makes it higher. The cost of doing business is higher. Listen, the rich people are always going to be rich. There's nothing you can do about that. I don't begrudge someone because they're rich. I just don't. I'm not rich. I'm far from being rich. I live paycheck to paycheck. But I don't go around begrudging people because they're rich. I had options when I came out of school. I could have gone to college. I could have. There's a lot of things I could have done. But I was done with school. I didn't want to go to school anymore. So I became a jack of all trades. I was working here, working there. I was getting by, and I was happy with getting by. And some of my friends, they had better influence. Their parents influenced them and said, no, you got to go to college. You got to stay in college. You have to go to college. And they did, and now they're very successful. Some are attorneys. Some aren't, but a lot of them are attorneys. You know Glenn Greenwald, right? From famous. I went to school with him. Now he's a famous journalist. You know, you can't begrudge someone because they're rich. I just don't. And the Democrats get upset. And I'm not, and listen, they talk about corporate welfare or corporations and they got to pay their fair share. Yeah, pay tax. Pay tax. But we need strong corporations because they hire us. They hire us. They pay us. Millions of union workers have their pensions wrapped up in these corporations. Stock. Employees have stock options. My dad worked for Walmart for 30 years. And he was given the option to purchase stock. And my dad worked 3 jobs to get by. His retirement was the stock that Walmart offered him, that he accumulated over 30 years. He wanted Walmart to succeed. He wanted them to have high stock prices because his retirement was wrapped up into that. I don't think people look at it that way. You have the auto workers. They want Ford, they want General Motors, they want Chrysler, they want Honda, whoever they work for. They need them to succeed because their retirement is wrapped up into that. And people say, well, when it comes to the trade, right? Trump wants to put tariffs on. It's going to kill us. Listen, Trump don't want to put tariffs on. If you educate yourself about Donald Trump, and again, I ain't endorsing the man, but if you read books about him, he uses the tariffs as a negotiating tool. because the other countries, they can't afford the tariffs. They can't afford it. It'll kill their economy. They don't have an economy like us. People say, well, we want free and fair trade. The rest of the world does not play fair because the rest of the world doesn't offer the wages that this country does. China. I have a good friend who's a foreign exchange student who came from China. Came here, completed 1 year of high school, and then went to the University of Illinois. And he was supposed to go back to China. He said, I ain't going back to China. He ain't going back. And he never did. He never went back. Because China doesn't play by the same rules. They have to employ they have 1 billion people there. Those people got to work. So they pay them $200 a week, $300 a week. I don't know, right? And they regulate the price of goods. They regulate how much food costs and everything, so it fits all within their $200 a week thing budget. That's what happens. So there's no free trade because we can't compete with the cheaper products because we can't compete with their pay scale. There's a reason why the companies are bailing, like John Deere and stuff, and they go to Mexico because the wages of the employees are half the cost. And they don't give them all the benefits there that we give in this country. So Trump wants to use the threat of tariffs as a negotiation tool. See, he negotiated NAFTA. He renegotiated NAFTA, right? But what's happened is China is now buying companies in Mexico to try to do an end run around any type of trade impact with the United States. So Trump wants to head that off. And I don't get it anyway, because China, you see what they're doing, right? China tried to interfere in the election. China tries to is supporting Russia, and we don't do anything to stop it. Hold on. I have my phone unplugged and sitting on my... All right. Well, listen. The Democrat Party has to learn. We have to learn from what happened. We've been hijacked by the progressive left, the AOCs. And because they're so vocal and they scream so much that they're the darlings of the media. They love to put them on the media. But as long as we embrace that, as long as you continue to embrace the far left of the party, we're screwed. They're screwed. I'm an independent. I've been an independent for most of my life. Because when I read the platform of the Democrats and the Republicans, I don't agree with everything on their platforms. But to be a card-carrying member of the Republican Party or the Democrat Party and be able to attend meetings and go to their little clubhouses and stuff, you got to sign a document that says that you pledge that no matter what that platform says or whoever the candidate is, you must vote for them. I don't want no one telling me who I have to vote for. If you're a nut job, you're a nut job, and I ain't voting for you. I don't care what party you're in. Under Donald Trump, do your research. Under Donald, it's very easy. Go to the U.S. border website. Under Donald Trump, in 4 years, 2.9 million people had contact with the Southern Border Patrol agents. It's documented, 2.9 million. Could be higher. In 3.5 years, under Joe Biden, almost 10 million. 10 million. And they're wearing shirts. Biden told me to come. People don't like it. That's why Arizona is no longer turned to Trump, right? And the Democrats can't recognize that because the Democrats are trying to turn the country. They're using the immigration. It's not going to happen now. It's going to happen. They're hoping that when those kids, when these immigrants have kids, that when they grow up, they'll be card-carrying members of the Democrat Party. That's why you got 20,000 Haitians in Ohio. You think Haitians want to live in Ohio? They won't live in Ohio. They want to live in Florida. Because South Florida, I used to live at a place called Lauder Hill. You know what the nickname of it is now? Jamaica Hill. I didn't give it that name. I do Uber once in a while, and someone got in the car. They were laughing. They were talking to me. They call it Jamaica Hill. You go to Miami. Miami has their little towns. They got Little Haiti. They have Overtown. They have Liberty City. They have Calle Ocho. Everyone is staked out their turf. Right? And the Democrat Party can't figure this out. Nevada went to Donald Trump. Right? And when Trump was president, they called him a monster. Because he wanted to build a wall. New York, Chicago, every one of these places called them out. And then what did Abbott do? Abbott did the greatest thing in the world to expose the Democrats. He put them on buses and sent them to New York. And when they started showing up at New York, the mayor went crazy. It was fine as long as it wasn't on his doorstep, right? Now I was watching one of the shows yesterday. I haven't really verified it, but they said now all of a sudden the New Yorkers trying to get them, sending people back to Texas. So these people are going back and forth like yo-yos, and they're saying that now a lot of the illegal aliens and listen, let's call people for what they are. We're aliens. They call them migrants or immigrants. They're not. There's not. To immigrate somewhere, look it up. To look it up. Look it up. To immigrate somewhere, they defined it as taking legal steps to do it. Not streaming across the border, running across the border. And in the code, we're all aliens. They're illegal aliens. But people didn't like that term. It made them feel bad. Well, it makes them feel bad to call them illegal aliens. So we got to call them immigrants. They're not immigrants. You could be a naturalized alien. You could be a legal alien. I think I'm an alien under the code. Natural born alien. A naturalized alien. An illegal alien. We're all aliens. I'm not from Mars. But the Democrat Party has to purge the progressive left. They got to purge it. They thought that American women would stream to the polls because of the abortion issue. And it didn't happen. They streamed and they voted for Trump. Why'd they vote for Trump? Because they took a small percentage, 1% or maybe 1%, a fraction of 1% of the population that call themselves trans. And the Republicans were able to exploit that because the Olympics embraced trans and allowed men to compete against women. And they're men. Give a flying F. They want to call themselves women? Fine. But they're men. You're afraid to hurt someone's feelings? If you take a man who's 6'6" or 6'4" and instead of Steve now calls himself Susan and jumps in a swimming pool and beats women by X amount of seconds, you can have cosmetic surgery, but you can't replace. We have structural differences in our bodies. Some women have longer legs, wider hips than men. A lot of men have shorter legs, but they have longer torsos. Women are the opposite. Women have longer legs and shorter torsos. And that's why they don't play tackle football with men. There's just some things they can't do. And I'll get in trouble. Chromosomes, DNA. Women give off certain hormones that men don't do. How do women give birth? Because when they're pregnant, they give off a hormone that makes their ligaments become soft and pliable so their joints their pelvis area can separate to give birth. Men can't do that. In gymnastics, why do women have more ankle and knee injuries or hip injuries than what men do? It's because of their body shape. Remember in gymnastics, they do the pull, they do the pommel horse and all that. They do the flipping. When they came down, they wanted their feet together, right? If you can come down with your feet together. But what they didn't take into account is that most women have wider hips than men. And when they try to put their feet together, it gives them that hourglass shape. So when they were coming down, it was putting pressure on their knees, ankles, and hips. And it was creating injuries. So now what did the Olympic Committee do? They changed the way they grade it. You can come down with your legs apart now, right? Because they finally recognized that the injuries, you can't change the structural part of your body. So I don't have anything against live and let live. But you can't, you got someone playing 6'4" volleyball, and you got someone who's a trans, and he's jumping above he's jumping a foot higher than a woman and spiking a ball that's coming down 20 miles an hour faster and popping the women in the face. And they embrace that and they say that's good. That ain't good. What the hell are they talking about? Or a young man who's wrestling against women, and he goes on a 20-match winning streak and wins the state championship and everything else, and they think there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. Come on, man. What the hell's wrong with the Democrat Party? Where did you lose your entire sense of reality? I can't believe it. They're worried about deportations under Trump. They don't realize that Barack Obama deported millions of people. Oh, Trump made denaturalized people. People who've been people who are now naturalized citizens, they can become denaturalized. They can take it away from them. Yeah. If you break the law, Barack Obama did it. They point out Trump. Under Trump's first administration, what was it, 240,000 people? Under Barack Obama, it was 600,000. It happens. We all came from somewhere. No one is originally from the U.S. Yeah, but many of us came here legally. Legally. You know, I have a cousin who married a young lady from a South American country. It took her many, many years. It took her like 4 or 5 or 6 years to become a citizen. And it took her almost 10 years to get her son over here. My brother married someone from Cuba. It has taken her 5 or 6 years. The reason why the Latino community went against the Democrats is because they view, let me open my window. They view the influx of people across illegal immigration as a threat. They thought the Democrats could say, "Oh, it's your countrymen." No. I've lived in South Florida my whole life. I've been in the construction business. I've been in the restaurant business, food and beverage business. I've been in the healthcare business. And there are sharp divides in a community. I know Cubans who don't like Puerto Ricans, and Puerto Ricans who don't like Cubans. And I know Puerto Ricans and Cubans who don't like Mexicans. There's cultural differences. There's food differences. There's a lot of differences. There's envy. My grandmother was married to a Cuban, and she said horrific things against the Puerto Ricans and what she thought against Puerto Rico. Probably completely baseless. But that was her view. This whole thing came out about, is Kamala Harris black? Is Kamala Harris black? There's a sharp divide on what's considered black. Right? If you ask a lot of black Americans, is Kamala Harris black? They tell you no. People I work with, because they consider someone black who's someone who was born in the United States and they had a background of slavery. I worked with a guy. I'll just say his first name was Paul. Paul was Haitian. Paul was extremely dark. Paul was black, beyond black. But Paul did not consider himself black. He told me he was French. He said, "I'm French. I'm not black." And I remember there was a Jamaican fellow named Lloyd. And Lloyd was from Jamaica. He used to tell Paul, "You're black, man." And they used to get in big arguments. I mean, to the point that the hammers and machetes came out. So there's an argument there over who is considered black and who's not. And when Trump came out and said, "She don't identify as black," it brought that whole conversation to the forefront. And then they had to walk. Then they got screwed. They were trapped and had to waste time trying to prove that she was black. Remember? And then they had a video of her going into a record store buying vinyl and buying records of black artists from the 60s and 70s. But until the Democrat Party, and I'm just going to leave it with this. I know there's a lot of people in the chat, 12 people. Until the Democrat Party, here's the scale, right? The scale goes a little to the right. It goes a little to the left, but the scale always comes back to the middle, right? It's even. You put something on the right, it goes this way. You put something on the left, like it goes this way, and then it goes like this. You always got to be in the middle. They can't go one way or the other, an extreme, or the scale breaks, and then the people in the middle lash out. And that's what happened this election. The people in the states lashed out. Arizona lashed out. Nevada lashed out. Michigan, Wisconsin, with all the help. With all the help. And the Democrat Party embraced Cardi B. What does Cardi B know about politics? Jack crap. She was just a figure. And they gave her a script to read. That was all. They brought out Beyonce. They brought out Barack Obama. Why? Because their polls told them that they were lagging behind in the black community. So they tried to bring out black celebrities to gain support. They pandered. They pandered to them. And all you have to do is go on YouTube and look at a lot of these little podcasts and a lot of these little things with some black men who were and they laughed. They embraced Trump. The Democrat Party made so many mistakes. They should never have gone after him they should never have gone after him in Atlanta. Should never have gone after him in New York. They should have let him just fade away into obscurity. No. They made him bigger than what he was. All right, listen. I got to go in. I'm sweating crazy. I'm in South Florida. It's freaking 85 degrees. And I don't have the car running. And it says my phone's overheating. So, y'all be good. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye.